This is a young man. It sounds like Notre Dame and Tennessee are high on his list. And any chance Notre Dame is going to be getting a visit from Deuce Knight anytime soon?
Yes, they sure are, Darren. July 27th, we reported this news at Blue and Gold on Sunday night, and I had a story with a couple quotes from Knight on what he's looking forward to about this visit at blueandgold.com. This is huge. You get the bad news about Isaiah Canyon decommitting and then committing to Georgia Tech, Justin Scott to Ohio State. The quarterback position is pretty darn important. You like to hear that Deuce Knight is locked in a visit to Notre Dame. Number 61 overall player, number 3 quarterback per the industry ranking. On 3 season was a top 30 player in the country. There's really 4 top schools here. I think it's Notre Dame and Tennessee at the top, like you mentioned. Then Ole Miss and Alabama are right there as well. And, he's visited Ole Miss 6 times. He's been to Tennessee 4 times. Easier schools for him to get to. He went to Bama in June and, picked up that offer after throwing for Nick Saban and the staff. But, he's only been to Notre Dame once, and that was, April 1st. He'd been trying to get back to Notre Dame in June, didn't work out. And then I'd been hearing that Notre Dame was working their tails off to get him on campus at the end of July. Their big grill and chill. Darren, do you remember a couple years back when Tobias Merriweather's father, or it wasn't, well, that was the cycle that he did the Brian Kelly cookout there, or that so that's what I'm thinking. But the grill and chill, I'd been told that there wasn't great seasoning in the food. Do you remember that, Darren? Do you remember that conversation? Well, that's back this year. So Deuce isn't making it for that on the 30th. He'll be there on a Thursday, the 27th, though. And Deuce Knight is open timeline for committing. He could commit, at the end of July. He could stretch into senior year. Like, he's kind of open to whatever that feeling is. So Notre Dame's certainly hoping that he visits and then commits. That would be absolutely huge news to follow up CJ Carr with Deuce Knight. Can you imagine that, Darren?
Is Deuce a lefty?
He is a lefty.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. So in moments like this is a good moment for Irish fans to take a deep breath. A couple of rough recruiting days. But we have to remember, Mike, that they have a lot of really good football players already in the bank. Should we remind folks that this class that Notre Dame is putting together right now is still pretty doggone good?
Yeah, it is, Darren. I mean, I think the 23 class, look, the 24 class for Notre Dame right now ranks higher. And I'm not going to go in depth about this because I've talked about it so many times, but On Three's recruiting rankings do their best to, for the team rankings, I should say, do their best to project where things stand right now is a somewhat of an accurate picture to what it will end up on signing day. Rivals ranking system is a popularity contest. Whoever has the most commitments is always ranked the highest. For On Three, Notre Dame has 20 commitments, but I think Alabama's ranked higher. They only have like 9. Because of the average star or the average rating for these recruits based on a rolling average. Again, you talk about that at a different time, and we have. So, I mean, Notre Dame's 2024 class actually ranks 7 right now. The 2023 class ranked 10. I think this class probably ends up somewhere in the 9 to 12 range. If Notre Dame signs another top 10 class, it's back to back to back. So for all of this, this is just Brian Kelly level recruiting. Brian Kelly never signed back to back to back top 10 classes, and Freeman will have done it in his first 3. And I'm giving Freeman credit for the 2022 class. Right? He was the defensive coordinator for it, and then he becomes the head coach and keeps them, they lost 2 offensive commits in the 22 class after Kelly left, but that had nothing to do with Brian Kelly. I won't get on that tangent. But yeah, I mean, and also, Darren, what's the biggest position on the field? What's the most important position? It's the quarterback spot. And whenever we talk about CJ Carr in his ranking, everyone wants to yell at me that this is the best quarterback prospect pretty much who's ever touched a football. So how bad can this recruiting class be when you have CJ Carr in it, right? Seriously. And he's got a fantastic one to throw to in Kane Williams. He still could get Gerby Lambert, one of the best offensive tackles in the country. So when you look at the most important positions, right? The quarterback, protect your quarterback, looking pretty good for Notre Dame there. And then you got to go get the other team's quarterback. Defensive line might not be the best, but I mean, Logan Thomas, from the Texas or the Houston area, is pretty darn good. So I mean, it's still a really good class, Darren. Safety recruiting's been head scratching, but they got Tay Johnson committed as the number 165 overall player, highest ranked safety commit Notre Dame's gotten since some guy named Kyle Hamilton. I mean, two of the best running backs in the country in Aeneas Williams and Keedron Young. Offensive recruiting's outstanding. Defense, are they taking some flyer on some guys? But I don't know. It's still not a bad class at all, Darren. I mean, there's a lot to like. Sky's not falling. Let's just wait and see. Don't overreact to 2 days in recruiting. If Justin Scott ends up flipping back to Notre Dame, I mean, who cares about what happened in July?
Hey, let me ask you
I said
about
flipping back. I mean, if he does flip to Notre Dame, then yeah.
Sure.